He texted her, "Be gone when we return. I hate old things. I work hard, so I deserve a new life." When they returned from their overseas wedding, they didn't find a key under the mat. They found nothing, just turf, a sign, and silence. Tonight, on the Confession Stories, he said I was old and dead to him, so I buried our £1,000,000 home instead. This is Helena Ward, 52, Surrey, wife of 28 years, mother of 2, and the woman who learned the difference between having your name on something and actually owning it. Now, let her tell you how she got to that delicious moment.
It's 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'm in my grey Honda Civic, engine off, windows cracked, parked across the road from where my life used to stand. Our 800,000 suburban paradise. Gone. In its place, fresh sod, spray-painted plot lines, and a for sale sign that creaks whenever the Surrey breeze remembers to be cruel. 6 months ago, I was Helena Ward, faithful wife of 28 years, mother of 2 very modern, very ungrateful adults. According to my husband, I was a nagging old bat who'd lost her figure and her purpose. Those were his exact words. He made the announcement while loading his golf clubs into Chloe's pink Jeep. He said he was leaving me for Chloe Grant, 24, his dental hygienist. Because nothing says midlife crisis like perfect teeth and father issues. The family, naturally, supported him. Daniel, 28, still living off a trust, called it Dad's second chance at happiness. Ellie, 26, full-time influencer, which is to say she takes selfies for a living, helped plan the destination wedding in Tuscany. "Mum, you have to understand," she'd said, painting her nails while dispensing wisdom. "Dad's been unhappy for years. Chloe makes him feel young again." I wasn't invited to the wedding, obviously. Richard made that clear when he moved out. "Helena, be gone when we get back. Start fresh somewhere." Maybe Eastbourne, where old people go. He laughed at his own joke, then texted me, "Be gone when we return. I hate old things. I work hard, so I deserve a new life." But here's what Richard didn't know about his old thing. I'd been planning for this day since the moment I found Chloe's thong in his gym bag, 3 years ago. See, Richard thought he was clever. But I'd handled our finances for decades. Every investment, every account, every asset that man thought he owned. And this is where he learned the difference between his name being on something and actually owning it. I spot them first as headlights sliding along turf, a white Range Rover easing up to the place where a drive used to be. Richard Ward, red-faced, linen shirt, fake serenity. Chloe, airport tan, lace dress better suited to the Aegean than Surrey. They get out. They look. They blink like owls in sunlight. "Richard, where's our house?" Chloe's voice has that glass splinter pitch. "You said 3-car garage and a pool." "We did have a house," he snarls, that forehead vein, back like a bad habit. "Helena!" he shouts, spinning on grass where our porch used to be. "What did you do to my house?" I roll my window down just enough for the sound to arrive clean. This is better than any soap opera I've ever watched. Chloe clutches his arm. Stilettos and turf are not friends. Her bleached hair whips. The mascara threatens mutiny. Poor little thing. She probably thought she was moving into a mansion. Richard, honey, where's our house?" "You said it was beautiful. 3-car garage, pool." "Helena," Richard bellows, "this is my property." "Actually, sweetheart, it isn't. But I'm not interrupting this performance to explain property law. My phone buzzes. Text from my solicitor, Amelia Shah. Demolition complete. He can't touch you legally. Enjoy the show. Oh, I plan to. Richard is frantically dialing. Probably his lawyer, poor man. I met him once. Nervous little thing. Kept wiping his glasses and repeating, "This is highly unusual," every 5 minutes. What do you mean the house was legally sold? Richard's voice cracks. I lived there. My name was on the deed. Check again. I almost feel sorry for him. Almost. Then I remember the night he came home reeking of Chloe's vanilla perfume and told me I should consider updating my look because maintenance matters in a marriage. The same man who hasn't seen the inside of a gym since Clinton was president was giving me beauty advice. Chloe starts crying, real tears cutting tracks through careful makeup. Richard, I quit my job. I gave up my flat. You promised me a beautiful home together. We will, baby. This is a misunderstanding, he says, sweating through his Tommy Bahama. Yes, the one I bought him 3 Christmases ago. Helena's being vindictive. We'll fix this. That's when the silver BMW screeches in. My heart does a little skip. Maybe one of my children will check on me. But no. Daniel jumps out, panic not for me, but for the missing free lodging between jobs. Dad, what the hell happened to the house? Your psycho mother happened, Richard spits. And that right there is his second mistake. The first was cheating. The second was calling me psycho in front of witnesses, because I'm recording this whole beautiful meltdown. Dad, you can't be serious, Daniel says, staring at the turf as if concentration will grow walls. Where are we supposed to live? We'll figure it out, Richard insists, voice climbing in pitch. It's temporary. Your mother is playing games. I'll sort this out legally. Next arrives a pink Mustang. Ellie steps out slowly, phone already recording, because heaven forbid she experience a family crisis without content. Oh my God, she breathes. Dad, this is totally insane. My childhood home is just gone. She's probably already captioning it. Family drama is wild, or when your stepmom ruins everything. Actually, sweetheart, your stepmom had nothing to do with this. This masterpiece? All your dear old mum. Helena sold our house out from under us while we were at the wedding. Richard announces to Ellie like he's breaking news. Wait, she can do that? Chloe squeals. You said everything would be fine. You said we'd work out the divorce later. Oh, this gets interesting. Richard told his new wife they'd sort the divorce later, which means they didn't actually marry overseas, which means Chloe quit her job and gave up her flat to move in with a man who is still legally married. Of course she can't do that. Richard lies, and we all know it. I'm calling my lawyer right now. This is theft. This is fraud. This is legal, I say, rolling down the window completely and stepping out. They turn and stare like I've materialized from fog. Richard's mouth actually drops open. Chloe steps back. Daniel looks confused. Par for Daniel. Ellie swings her camera to me. Hello, family, I say pleasantly, smoothing my new haircut. I'd gone shorter and blonder, judging by Richard's expression. It suits me. How was Italy? Helena, what have you done? He wheezes. I sold my house, I reply, conversational, as if discussing weather. Demolished it, actually. The new owners wanted to start fresh with the lot. Can't blame them. The previous owner had abysmal taste in furniture. Your house? He snarls, purple now. It was our house. Actually, Richard, no. I pull a folder from my bag, the same bag he called matronly last Christmas. When you started your affair 3 years ago, I got curious about our finances. Imagine my surprise when I discovered the house was purchased entirely with my parents' inheritance. My name was the only one on the original deed. Silence stretches like a rubber band about to snap. That's impossible. He whispers. Your name was added later as a gift, back when I believed in us, I say. Gifts can be revoked under certain circumstances. Adultery, for instance. I turn a soft smile on Chloe, who is looking both confused and vaguely ill. Didn't he tell you? Richard and I are still married. The colour drains from her face so quickly I think she might faint. Still married? Very married, I confirm cheerfully. You can't actually marry in Italy while you're still married in England. That's called bigamy. Illegal in most civilized countries. Richard, she whispers. Tell her she's lying. He opens and closes his mouth like a fish. Nothing. We were going to... the paperwork? It got complicated, he stammers, like a drunk man trying to walk a straight line. What paperwork? I ask sweetly. The divorce paperwork I never signed? The paperwork your lawyer never sent me? Or do you mean the marriage license that doesn't exist because you're already married to me? Men like Richard always assume women like me will roll over and play dead. We're meant to be grateful for 28 years with a man who thinks Hooters is fine dining and considers scratching himself in public a form of self-expression. So you two had a commitment ceremony, I say, enjoying the way his shirt darkens with sweat. Very sweet, legally meaningless, but sweet. You ruined everything, Chloe finally screeches, shrill enough to wake the neighbours. We had plans. We were going to be happy. Were you now? I tilt my head, sympathetic as silk. Plans that included living in my house, spending my money, and playing stepmum to my children while I conveniently disappeared? How thoughtful of you to plan my life for me. Mum, this is seriously messed up, Ellie says, looking at me like she's seeing me for the first time. You can't just destroy people's lives because you're mad. Can't I? I ask. Your father destroyed my life when he decided marriage was optional whenever he got bored. He took our children, our friends, our social circle, and he tried to take our home. The only thing he didn't take was my brain. Daniel is typing frantically, searching for a sofa to crash on, no doubt. The trust fund baby is about to discover that trust funds don't last forever when you don't actually work. Where are we supposed to go? Richard demands. I have rights. I have belongings in that house. Had, I correct. Past tense. And your belongings are in a storage unit. Unit 247, Slyfield Industrial Estate. Rent is paid through month end. After that, you're on your own. He stares at the small key like it's a dead mouse. You put my stuff in storage. I kept what mattered, I say, calm as a ledger. Donated the rest to charity. Amazing how little actually matters when you think about it. For a second, watching him wilt, I almost feel sorry for him. Almost. Then Chloe opens her mouth again. This isn't over, you crazy old bat. I smile my biggest smile of the day, because she has just made a serious mistake. A recorded threat, with witnesses. My solicitor is going to have a field day. Old bat, I echo, tapping my phone to ensure it's still recording. Interesting. How old do you think I am, Chloe? Old enough to be desperate and pathetic. She spits, face twisting. No wonder Richard left you. You're bitter and cruel. 52, I say evenly. I'm 52. Richard is 55. which makes me 3 years younger than your boyfriend. She lifts her chin. Age is just a number. You're absolutely right, I agree. Just like bankruptcy is just a word. Richard's head snaps up. What's that supposed to mean? Oh, did I not mention? I check my watch like I've somewhere nicer to be. Richard, darling, remember that business loan you co-signed last year for Daniel's brilliant cryptocurrency startup? Daniel goes very still. Mum, you wouldn't what? Call in a loan that's 3 months overdue? The loan you personally guaranteed with your father's signature? Richard drains from red to sheet white to an unflattering green. Daniel, you said it was a formality. You said the business was guaranteed to succeed. It was, Daniel protests. The market shifted. Crypto is volatile. I can turn it around. I'm sure you can, I say sweetly. But the lender doesn't think so. They've been patient. Patience has limits, as does my willingness to be an ATM with feelings. Ellie stares like I've grown a second head. Mum, what are you saying? I'm saying I've been covering Daniel's payments for 3 months, hoping he might attempt adulthood. But since he thinks his mother is a bottomless bank, I've stopped enabling incompetence. You can't do that. Richard panics. If that loan defaults, they'll come after my assets. My credit will be ruined. What assets? I ask, almost kindly. Your house is gone. Your savings are frozen pending divorce proceedings. And your credit cards? Let's just say collections are in for a disappointment. He blinks. How did you... Stops. How did you know about the secret accounts? The money? The spending? The debts? I shrug. Richard, I handled our finances for 28 years. Did you really think I wouldn't notice when you started acting like a teenager with a stolen card? Chloe looks between us, alarm rising. Richard, what is she talking about? What money? What debts? It's nothing, baby. Misunderstandings. $34,000 in credit card debt, I announced cheerfully, all in Richard's name. Amazing how quickly it adds up when you're impressing a 24-year-old. Jewelry, holidays, and that adorable pink Jeep. Chloe whirls on him. You bought me that Jeep for my birthday. You said it was paid for. It will be, he insists. Payments are manageable. $509 a month, I add helpfully, plus insurance for a 24-year-old in a high-risk vehicle. Another $240. She does the maths, slowly, and arrives at a very unfashionable number. You told me you were wealthy, she says, blade slow. You said money wasn't a problem. It isn't, he lies. Helena is vindictive. Once the divorce is final, I'll get half of everything and... Half of what? I interrupt. Sweetheart, there is no everything to split, just debt, mountains of it, in your name. And that is when I see it. The precise moment Chloe realizes she quit her job, gave up her flat, and attached herself to a man who is not only still married, but also completely broke. Wait, wait, wait. She flutters her hands like fanning smoke. Richard, you told me you owned a successful company. You said you'd retire in 5 years. I do own a company, he protests, confidence already thinning. Ward Construction has been profitable for 15 years. I laugh out loud for the first time all day. Oh, honey, that's precious. Tell her about Ward Construction. Tell her who actually owns it. His silence is answer enough, but I'm enjoying myself far too much to stop. Richard likes to tell people he owns a construction firm, I say. What he doesn't mention is that Ward Construction is owned entirely by me. Richard is an employee, a well-paid employee, granted. but still, an employee. That's impossible, he sputters. Is it? Shall I ring Tom Bradley and ask who signs his paycheck? Or perhaps the HMRC? I've filed the business taxes for 15 years. He spent so long taking credit for my work and my money that he started believing his own lies. He truly thought he owned the company, even though every legal document has my name as sole proprietor. But I built that company, he shouts. I worked 60 hours a week for years. You worked for me, I correct, still pleasant. And you were paid very well. Owning a business requires paperwork, Richard. Contracts, tax forms, the boring things you hate that I happen to love. Ellie's still recording, but now she just looks confused. Mum, are you saying Dad doesn't actually own anything? That is exactly what I'm saying. Your father has been living off my money, in my house, working for my company, spending my credit, for years. He owns his golf clubs, and that ridiculous Tommy Bahama collection. She's lying. Richard turns to Daniel desperately. Son, you know I'm successful. You've seen the trucks, the sights. I've seen Mum's company trucks, Daniel says slowly. I can practically hear the cogs engage. Mum's the one who taught me business licenses and tax law. Mum's the one who showed me financial statements. This is insane, Chloe declares. I'm calling my mother. I'm going home. That might be a problem, Richard mumbles. What do you mean? You gave up your flat because you said we were getting married, because you said we'd live in your beautiful house. Her voice climbs to a frequency that surely annoys dogs 3 streets over. We can figure this out, he insists, though even he doesn't sound convinced. Figure what out? I ask pleasantly. Richard. No house, no money, no assets, and a mountain of debt. Chloe. No job, no flat, and apparently no legal relationship with you despite what she thought was a wedding. Daniel. Failed business and a loan he can't service? Ellie? Well, Ellie has her influencer career, so she's probably fine. Thanks, Mum, Ellie mutters. You're welcome, sweetheart. I look around the group, each one staring at me as if an alien had landed and spoken fluent consequences. This has been fun, I say, checking my watch. But I have an appointment with my solicitor in an hour. We're finalising the divorce papers and discussing a restraining order. Restraining order? Richard's voice cracks. Oh, yes. When you texted me to be gone when you return, when you called me a nagging old bat in front of witnesses, and when your girlfriend here threatened me, that's harassment. Possibly threatening behaviour. Chloe goes very quiet. Smart girl. Too late. Amelia thinks we have an excellent case. No contact. 500 feet from my residence. No interference with my business. Your new residence? He asks weakly. I smile and jingle my car keys. Did I not mention? I bought a lovely city centre condo. Cash. Gated. Excellent security. Absolutely no space for ungrateful children or cheating husbands. Oh, and Richard. Check your email. The divorce was filed this morning. Since you ignored every prior notice, and since you've been committing adultery for 3 years, this will be an uncontested divorce. I keep everything. You keep nothing. And your girlfriend gets a front row seat to life with a broke, homeless, middle-aged man with terrible credit. I climb back into my Honda, start the engine, and roll the window down one last time. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And remember, I work hard too, so I deserve my new life. As I drive away, the rear view shows them standing on that empty lot like survivors after a storm, trying to understand what exactly just hit them. But I wasn't done. Phase 3 was going to be even better. SFX, engine fades, distant wind ticking the sign chain. It's been 3 weeks since the demolition. Since that beautiful afternoon when Richard, Chloe, and my 2 ungrateful heirs stood gawking at a freshly turfed lot that used to be my home. Since then, I've moved into my flat in Guildford. Top floor, corner view, all glass and quiet. If revenge has an echo, it sounds like silence. The first call came from Barclays Business Lending. Mrs. Ward, this is regarding the $75,000 loan co-signed by Mr. Richard Ward. The woman's tone was polite, almost bored, the tone of someone accustomed to financial casualties. Payments are 3 months overdue. Our policy requires us to contact the guarantor. You're contacting the right person, I said. I'm the one who signed the original documents. A pause. Then you're aware, Mrs. Ward, that non-payment will affect your co-signer's credit file? I smiled into the receiver. I'm aware. Please proceed. There was a longer silence this time. Professional confusion. She was expecting panic, not permission. So, you're not intending to make the payment? Not unless the borrower begins behaving like an adult, I said. But feel free to inform him of the consequences. I hung up, poured another glass of wine, and watched the light crawl across the city. Within hours, the messages began. Daniel. Mum, what the hell did you do? Barclays are calling Dad. You're ruining his life. Me. I'm not ruining it, darling. He's finally living it without my help. Then Ellie texted, ever the diplomat. Mum, can you please stop? People are talking. You're trending on TikTok again. Oh, I knew. The footage from the empty lot had gone viral. Someone had captioned it. When Mum deletes the family home IRL. 500,000 views and counting. I scrolled through the comments until I found one that made me laugh. Justice served with landscaping. The second call came from Amelia Shah, my solicitor. Helena, brace yourself. Richard's filed for legal reversal on the demolition. On what grounds? He's claiming destruction of marital property. He's also demanding half the assets. I laughed. Marital assets? He's forgotten who bought them. He's hired a new solicitor, Amelia added. David Parker, sharp one. He's pushing for emergency injunctions. Let him push, I said. Gravity still works. That night, I received a voicemail. Richard's voice, frantic and shaking. Helena, you've gone too far. The bank's freezing my accounts. The company's in trouble. You're destroying everything. He didn't realize the irony of saying you're destroying everything to the woman he'd already destroyed. I deleted the message, then opened another bottle. By morning, Daniel called again. This time, his tone was smaller, desperate. Mum, they're saying Dad's liable for the full balance. They'll come after his wages. Excellent, I said. Maybe he'll learn what wages feel like. Please, Mum, you've made your point. No, Daniel, I said softly. You're missing it. The point is to live with consequences. He went silent. I could hear him breathing, that shallow, childlike pant that used to precede crocodile tears. Where are we supposed to live? I recommend the real world. It has affordable rent. The line went dead. 2 days later, Amelia called again. He's escalated, filed a counter-petition in family court, claims you've been hiding assets and manipulating finances. I nearly choked on my tea. Hiding assets? He's the one who hid mistresses in hotel receipts. Nevertheless, the courts accepted it. You'll need to appear. Fine, I said. Let's make it theatrical. That evening, I walked along the river way, the lamps flickering gold on the water, thinking how absurd it was that I'd spent nearly 3 decades protecting a man who now wanted to sue me. And yet, there was a kind of poetry in it. He'd always believed himself the head of the family. Now he'd learn what happens when the neck stops supporting him. 3 weeks passed before the court date. In that time, the world found new ways to punish him for me. Creditors, taxmen, former employees. Even Tom Bradley, the foreman, had quit Ward Construction to join a rival firm. Apparently, morale had plummeted without Mrs. Ward's steady hand. Richard sent another message. "You win, Helena. I can't even pay rent." I never wanted this to get ugly. I almost replied, "Then you shouldn't have married ugly." But I restrained myself. Revenge tastes better when savoured slowly. The call that changed everything came on a rainy Thursday. Amelia. "Helena, you need to sit down." "What now?" "He's found something." Her voice was cautious, as though the words themselves were fragile. "A trust," she continued. "Established in 1998, the Ward Family Trust. You set it up when Daniel was born, yes?" I frowned. I'd forgotten it even existed. "It owns 40% of your business assets," she said quietly, "and Richard's listed as co-trustee." The room went very still. Outside, rain ticked against the glass like a metronome counting my heartbeat. "If his lawyer proves the trust's still active," Amelia said, "he could claim rights to those assets. 40% of everything you've built." I set my cup down slowly. "He can't. He won't." But even as I said it, a cold certainty began to bloom behind my ribs. I stared out at the rain. Each droplet hitting the pane felt like a countdown. That night, Richard called. "Patricia," he began, still using my old name out of habit. "Helena," I corrected. "Fine, Helena. We need to talk." "About what?" "The trust. Let's be civil. You drop the restraining order, I drop the case. We can start again." I nearly laughed. "You're offering reconciliation in exchange for my life's work." "Think about it. You keep your money, I keep my dignity. Win-win." "Dignity," I said softly. "You lost that somewhere between your mistress and my mortgage." "Helena, be reasonable. Do you really want to spend the next year fighting? You could lose everything." That's when it clicked. The shift in his tone. He wasn't pleading anymore. He was confident, because he thought he'd found leverage. "Frankly, yes," I said. "If fighting means finally being free of you." Then I hung up and dialed Amelia. "It's time for phase 4, I said. "We burn the bridge, then we light the ashes." SFX. Thunder rolling, faint rain on window pane. Friday, 9 a.m. Surrey Family Court, polished floors, varnish and nerves. Richard arrives in the only suit he hasn't pawned, navy, a touch tight. David Parker, his new solicitor, sharp-eyed, files stacked like fortifications. I sit beside Amelia Shah. She lays one neat folder on the table, thin, almost disrespectfully so. Judge Harrison takes the bench. 60s, silver hair, voice that parts fog. The matter of Ward versus Ward. Appearances? Parker for Mr. Ward, Your Honour. Shah for Mrs. Ward. Parker rises first. Your Honour, my client seeks his rightful share of marital assets his wife has hidden via unlawful transfers and a strategic demolition of the marital home. He glances back at Richard, who sits very straight, as if posture could manufacture wealth. The claim includes access through the Ward Family Trust, established 1998, which holds approximately $4 million in assets. Mr. Ward is co-trustee. Judge Harrison adjusts her glasses. Mrs. Shah? Amelia stands, velvet over steel. Your Honour, my client does not dispute the existence of the trust. However, Mr. Ward is operating with incomplete information. She slides one page forward, copies to the judge, to Parker, to Richard. Mrs. Ward's total net worth is not $4 million, Amelia says evenly. According to audited statements from Bradley, Thompson and Associates, her current net worth is approximately $47 million. Silence. Richard's jaw drops like a faulty hinge. Parker blinks twice. Then again. The family trust represents less than 10% of her holdings, Amelia continues. The remainder originates from inheritance, real estate ventures, stock portfolios, and company profits registered solely under her name. Judge Harrison reads, eyes narrowing in professional interest. Mrs. Ward, accurate? I rise. Yes, Your Honour. My husband never managed a single account. He only managed to spend them. Amelia opens a second folder, this one thick. Furthermore, Your Honour, embezzlement of marital funds. She lays out statements, receipts, charge slips. Over 3 years, Mr. Ward spent $127,000 on gifts, travel, and accommodation related to an extramarital relationship with Miss Chloe Grant. Richard's colour drains from offended plum to hospital sheet. Parker's pen stills. Amelia, soft as a scalpel. Business credit cards, joint accounts, cash withdrawals from Ward Construction for personal use. The chain of custody is documented. Judge Harrison looks to Parker. Counsel. Parker swallows. Reserve comment pending review, Your Honour. Very well, says the judge. Settlement proposals? Amelia doesn't sit. Mrs. Ward offers the following. Mr. Ward retains his personal belongings and vehicle and receives a one-time payment of $50,000. In exchange, he relinquishes all claims to marital property, business assets, and trust funds. He must also repay the $127,000 embezzled, cash or wage garnishment within 10 years. Richard lurches to his feet. Hell, Mrs. Ward, you can't be serious. It's generous, I say, calm as paper. Especially considering prison uniforms don't pair well with your golf shoes. Judge Harrison leans forward. Mr. Ward, given the documentation before me, your wife appears to have grounds for criminal referral. I suggest you reflect. Parker's whisper is urgent static in Richard's ear. Richard wilts by degrees. Your Honour, Parker says finally, may we request a 15-minute recess? Granted. Corridor, fluorescents hum. A vending machine clicks like a metronome. Richard approaches, eyes wet. Helena, I didn't know about the money, about how much you'd built. You never meant to get caught, I finish. You treated me like staff while I built the empire you bragged about. I was selfish, stupid. Can't we try again? I study his face and feel nothing. Take the settlement. Use the $50,000 to start over. Get a job. Learn to survive without me. And if I don't? Then Amelia files criminal charges and you trade linen for handcuffs. He looks at Parker. Parker looks at the floor. Back in court. Has a decision been reached? Judge Harrison asks. Richard's voice is barely a thread. Yes, Your Honour. I'll accept the settlement. A signature here, another there. Ink dries on the end of an era. As we gather our papers, Judge Harrison addresses me. Mrs. Ward, not many manage this level of composure. Practice, I say gently, and accountants. We step into autumn air. Amelia squeezes my hand. That was the most satisfying morning I've had in years. How does freedom feel? I breathe in. Oaks, damp stone, something like the future. It feels, I tell her, like winning. SFX, Distant traffic, a gull, papers rustling, then snapping shut. Later, my flat evening. I open the window. The city folds into itself with a soft, satisfied hush. On my desk lies a single page. Settlement accepted. Repayment schedule active. I think of Chloe, of her pink Jeep and terrible arithmetic. I think of Daniel, finally Googling how to budget. I think of Ellie, framing the world through a screen. They will all learn. Or they won't. Either way, the tuition is consequences. I pour a glass of red. Outside, the lamps bloom like tame stars. Phase 3 is over. Phase 4, the life after, is beginning. It's been 6 months since the court hearing. The papers are signed, the accounts separated, and Richard Ward has officially become history. A chapter I no longer reread. Sometimes I still wake expecting his footsteps on the stairs, that tuneless whistle, the faint smell of aftershave in the hall. Then I remember. That house, that life, that woman, no longer exist. I live by the coast now, Whitstable, where the air smells of salt and forgiveness. The sea doesn't care who left you. It just keeps returning, no matter how many times it's gone. My mornings begin with quiet, coffee, sunrise, and the gulls laughing at nothing. No shouting, no gaslighting, no waiting for apologies that never came. One afternoon, my phone buzzes. A message from Daniel. "Mum, can we talk?" I stare at it for a minute before replying. "Tomorrow, noon, the pier." He arrives early, hands buried in his jacket, eyes red, voice small. "Dad says you ruined him," he blurts. "No, Daniel," I say softly. "Your father ruined himself. I just stopped covering for him." He looks at the water. "I didn't know about the money, or the affair. He said you were going mad." "I was," I admit. "Crazy enough to wake up." We stand a long while, the tide slapping the pilings below like slow applause. "Do you hate him?" Daniel asks. I think. "No," I say. "I outgrew him." He exhales, nods once, and for the first time in years, calls me Mum without irony. That night, the phone rings again. Ellie. Her voice is smaller than I remember. "Mum, I took down the videos. I didn't want people laughing at us anymore." "Thank you," I whisper. "I never wanted to embarrass anyone, just to end it before it ended me." Ellie hesitates. "Do you think love ever really dies?" I smile into the receiver. "No," I tell her. "It just changes address." 3 months later, a letter arrives. Official seal, thick paper. Final decree absolute. No confetti. No audience. Just quiet freedom inside a white envelope. Amelia calls that evening. "Congratulations," she says. "He signed the repayment plan. You're officially debt-free and ex-husband-free." Free. A word that once sounded theoretical. Now it feels like oxygen. I pour myself a glass of wine, sit by the window, and watch the sunset fold itself into the sea. A gull screams overhead. Then the world exhales into gold. For a moment, I imagine Richard somewhere, maybe in a bedsit, counting what's left, telling Chloe that everything was my fault. I hope she believes him. It's easier than the truth. Because the truth is this: I didn't destroy him. I simply refused to hold him up any longer. The next morning, a knock at my door. When I open it, Ellie stands there. No phone, no filters. Just a young woman trying to come home. "Mum," she says, voice trembling, "can we walk?" So we walk, along the pebbled beach, the sky a patchwork of silver and mercy. She tells me she's started working. Marketing assistant at a small agency. Not glamorous, not influencer perfect, but real. She earns her own money now. She's learning about bills and taxes and quiet pride. When she finishes, she asks, "Do you ever miss him?" I watch the sea. Waves rise, break, return. "I miss who I thought he was," I say, "not who he became." She nods, and we stand there until the tide reaches our shoes. "Come for coffee tomorrow?" I ask. "Your treat." Ellie laughs through her tears. Deal. Later, back home, I open my laptop. A new folder on the desktop reads, "New Life." Inside, business ideas, property listings, and a single document titled Legacy. I click it open and type one line. Sometimes starting over means leaving the ashes where they fell. I close the lid, step onto the balcony, and let the wind taste my hair. Below, the sea keeps breathing. Steady, certain, as if it knows I'm finally free. That's what peace sounds like.
Some endings come with fireworks. Some end quietly, with the sound of the sea and a woman choosing herself, finally. If this story found you, if you've ever rebuilt your life from ruins, you're not alone. Follow the Confessions stories for more tales of love, betrayal, and rebirth. Because sometimes revenge isn't destruction, it's survival.